Hey guys, and welcome back to another Hey Dr. Helene. Just want to give a quick thanks to everyone that has been tuning into my vlogs, who are subscribed. I really appreciate it. If you're a newcomer and you like what you see, please don't forget to subscribe below. So from the title of this video, it's obvious that I will be talking about mission trips in this vlog. So I've actually gotten a question about mission trips in general and how I got involved in mission trips and things like that. So I figured this was a good time to go ahead and just create a vlog about it. I decided to go on my very first mission trip because it was an opportunity presented at my undergrad university. So like I mentioned in my first vlog, I am a graduate of Baylor University, Sick'em Bears. People always say that's so lame, but come on, like, it's a bear claw. Like, y'all get it? It's a bear claw, so you go like, hey, Sick'em Bears, you know? Okay, so Baylor has this organization called Baylor Missions, and so from there, they had like a bunch of different mission trip opportunities in which they go on usually every year. God just kept leading me to go on the trip. The mission trip that I'm talking about is the one in which I went to Ghana. So if you are a current Baylor student and you're interested in mission trips, I would definitely follow this advice. So for this kind of mission trip, you actually had to apply for it. They had only a certain number of spots for the trip. So I think when I went, it was like 2 faculty members and I think like at most 15 students. Then once I found out that I was accepted, that's when like the actual planning for the trip started. And coincidentally, my roommate was also accepted, so we were able to go on this trip together.
They asked me the question, I'ma tell you the one that got me like, I wanna think about you, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. I'm like.
Then the next thing was meeting with your group members just to get to know one another, to talk about what we're gonna do on the trip and what they did last year and how to continue that and things like that. You coordinate with leadership people to the site in the area that you're going to, and then you formulate whatever you're gonna do. But then essentially it's time to fundraise. So for that trip, I actually didn't pay anything for the trip. So how do you fundraise for mission trips? I started what's like a GoFundMe, but instead of using GoFundMe, I used a website called youcaring.com or youcaring.org. The reason I did that was because YouCaring is run off of donations. So I had a GoFundMe at first, and then I completely deactivated that account because I realized they were taking like 7% or something of my donations. So I was like, wait a minute, no. Ended up finding YouCaring. I just Googled websites that didn't charge, essentially, and then came across YouCaring. So basically, it was just going on social media and just telling people about the trip and why it's important to me and talking about what we're gonna do overseas, and literally people were just so encouraging, and they wanted to donate to the cause because they felt like it was a great cause and they were proud of what I was doing and what my team was doing. And so it was really great to get those donations. And on top of that, I also applied for a scholarship through Baylor, and that gave me about half of the money as well. So it really was that scholarship and then donations that basically got me all I needed. So for that trip, that was like $3,500. We also did team fundraising, which brought it down like a couple hundred for everyone, but for the most part, it was over $3,000 to go on that trip. And that trip was for 2 weeks. So, you know, the longer the trip, the more expensive it is. And usually you're gonna pay like $1,000 or so for most mission trips because it is expensive to do these types of things. But, you know, the reward that you're getting from it and for those that you're helping is just, it's priceless in my opinion. So now let's move on to another mission trip that I went on, was to El Salvador. I went on that trip actually last year. It was during my spring break. So during that week where I didn't have class, that's when I went on the trip. The trip for El Salvador is something that's more attainable for people who are truly interested in mission trips because it's not through my school. It was through an organization called GHO, which stands for Global Health Outreach. And so what this organization does is they have a website. I'll post the link below. And all you do is just go to the link, and there are tons of mission trips that they go on yearly. The trip that I went on to El Salvador, I found out about that one specifically through the Christian Medical and Dental Association group at my school. So one of the leaders for that trip, like the team leader is what we call him, he came and spoke at a meeting. And so basically he was just talking about the trip. They go every year. It was like his 6th time going. And you know, you feel that the spirit moving in you. And you know, I was nervous at first because I was like, oh man, like I don't even know anyone that's going on the trip. Like I don't know who's going. I don't know if students are going as well, or if I'll be the only student. Like I had no idea about any of the details, but God literally was just like, sign up now. And I was like, but I don't know how I'm gonna pay. Sign up. And I was like, but like, you know, it's during spring break, like sign up. So essentially I went ahead and signed up because it was all a part of God's plan. And you know, I didn't know the details. I didn't even know how much it costs. I literally just went ahead and signed up. Come to find out, the trip was different. So it wasn't through just Morehouse School of Medicine people. This was medical students all over the US who signed up for this trip. So I met a bunch of students from different medical schools, and like pre-med students and PA students and PT students, like literally from everywhere, nursing students. It was literally a good mix of people. Then we had the doctors come as well. A chiropractor came, RNs. It was a really awesome group. And so this trip was more hands-on. It was more medically related, I guess, because in Ghana it was not only pre-med students but also like education students and things like that. So there was like some medical part, but most of the medical aspect of that trip was more shadowing. It wasn't necessarily like doing, because we were in college, you know, there's only so much you can do. So with this El Salvador trip, it was like, I'm already a medical student. I have a stethoscope. And so what we did was we set up a clinic every single day, through a partnership with a local church that they've been working with for the past X amount of years, and would give free healthcare to anyone that came through the doors. We would set up the clinic literally from bright early in the morning till like after the sun went down. It was literally all day. It was hot. It was, everybody's sweating, drinking water, trying to stay hydrated. But it was honestly the most rewarding thing. I mean, the people there were just so thankful. Like, they were just so happy to see us. Like, every single patient we spoke to, we prayed with. So whether you were in triage, whether you were in actually like a patient room, and I'll show pictures of like the rooms that we set up, and whether you were the nutritionist talking to the patient, whatever, we prayed with every single patient. So by the time they left, they probably got around like 3 or 4 rounds of prayer. But they were just so welcoming to it. Like, it was through a church. So, I mean, regardless, like, that was going to be one of the main things that was going to happen. And then every night we would all come together and do a Bible study or a devotional or something like that. And then also do that in the morning before we left too. So, like I said, that one was for a week. It was honestly just amazing. And I wish that I could go back this year, but with step 1 coming up and the way my schedule is set up, spring break will be a time of literally I am studying. I'm gonna go out of town and get like a little quick vacation for like 3 days, and then once I get back, it's literally just step 1 for the rest of my spring break. So yeah. So for those who are interested in going on a mission trip, I highly recommend it, as long as you find the right one for you. Whatever location that you have in mind, definitely research the trip, and contact those leaders who are in charge of the trip, so that you can get more information about it. See how many years they've gone on this trip, see the type of connections that they have with the population that they're serving wherever they're going abroad, or if it's in the US or wherever. That's really important. And also have a way to raise money. So like I said, I use that UCaring website, which helped a ton. Find scholarships. Also for the El Salvador mission trip, I applied to like 3 scholarships, and they were scholarships that I just Googled and found online. So speaking of scholarships, let me go ahead and get the names of the applied for you. If I'm looking down at my computer, it's because I'm looking at my notes, so don't mind me. Okay, so one of the scholarships that I applied for was called Baptist Medical Dental Fellowship, so BMDF, and that scholarship, I believe, gave me $650. And so what the outside scholarships do is that you basically apply for them, and you tell them why you want the scholarship, like what you'll be doing with the money, and like what you're doing on your mission trip, because these are mission trip based scholarships. And so what you do is that after you get the money, then they ask for usually like an essay or like a question and answer kind of thing. So what they asked were, what problems did you encounter? How did you correct them? What are the needs or issues that can be addressed? What did you learn from the trip? Things like that. And then you just answer those questions and then send it to the organization. And then that fulfills the requirements of the scholarship. And then the second one that I applied to was called the Naomi Kim Scholarship, and they awarded me $500. And so with that one, they also required responses as well. Let's see. Yeah, so first you just apply for the scholarship in general. It's an essay, 300 words. And then once you realize that you won the scholarship, then they ask for a response on basically how you got involved in the mission trip, how did you use the money, and things like that. And so in total, the El Salvador scholarship was $2,500. And so, as you can see, I was already able to raise almost half of it just from scholarships. So the rest came from donations. And I don't think that I paid anything for this one as well. And that's all through God. So that was a blessing. Even as a physician in the future, I do have plans on continuing going on mission trips. you know, people ask me why I like mission trips in general and why I enjoy those types of things. And I know there's like some negativity sometimes around like mission trips, and people feel like, oh, you're just going to a place helping them, but then like when you leave, they're kind of on their own. But you know, it depends on the type of trip that you're going on and the relationship that those people have with whoever is here planning that trip. So you really just have to do your research. And so with the El Salvador trip, like we brought over a ton of supplies. I remember I had to pack a different suitcase with all of the medical supplies that we had. So like medications, gauze, tape, you know, needles, all that stuff. We had to bring over as well. And then whatever was left over, we just left it for them to use because they also have docs too. We also had a physician there who worked in El Salvador as well. So it was just a huge partnership, and that is definitely a trip that I hold dear to my heart as well. So, you know, people ask me why I like mission trips, why I like to go on them. And the reason is because, one, I enjoy being that servant heart, having that mindset and being able to help those who are truly in need. I do, you know, there are people here in America that still need help as well, but I like going abroad because it's just fun in general for me. Like, you really stretch yourself, the impact that you're making, especially with people who you've had a long-term relationship with, and the people that go on the trips have been doing this over and over for years, so they've established that bond with whatever population you're serving. It's just great because they are so thankful that you're doing that, and seeing the smile on people's faces when you help them is just like, that's all I need. And the fact that I can just really just grow my faith as well, because I make it a point to pray with everyone. So going across the cultural boundaries and showing that like we do have things in common, and you know, we all love and care about each other is just something that I really deeply enjoy experiencing. And also, as a physician, I do have plans on going on more trips as well. Hopefully to the same place, but if not, you know, that's cool too. And so that's another reason why I do enjoy emergency medicine, because I'll have that flexibility in order to be able to go on mission trips. Definitely want to continue that as a physician. That's not going to change. So yeah. So please, if you have any questions about mission trips and how to get involved with them, and questions more about my experience, if you didn't catch that from this video, please send me an email. My email is below, and I am more than willing to talk to you about it and just give some insight. All right, so that's it. Thanks for watching this vlog. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe below if you are not already subscribed. Please comment below with any other videos that you would like to see, and I will catch you next week.